Welcome to the video solutions of the actual IPMAT Indore paper, and today we are going to see the MCQ section. So let's get on to the first question. First question, as simple as they come, as was a rare gem in the otherwise moderate to difficult section. First was one of the few simple questions in the whole section. So they've asked remainder when 11 raised to 1011 plus 1011 raised to 11 is divided by 9. First and the foremost thing you should know that remainders are additive, which means the final answer to this question will be remainder of this guy divided by 9 plus the remainder of this guy divided by 9. So if we even find out the remainders of these two independently and add, we will get our answer. Okay, that's the first thing you need to know. Now, so let's focus only on the first term currently. 11 raised to 1011 by 9 is remainder. Very simple thumb rule: if your numerator, only the base, okay, the base of the numerator is more than the divisor when we are trying to find remainder. If it is more, you divide it and bring it back to less than the denominator, and then we think in terms of maybe negative remainders or some multiples of numerator. So 11 will divide 9 one time. So when you divide that, what you get is actually 2 raised to 1011 divided by 9. Even if this, if you find this difficult to understand, just split the numerator in your head. It is 11 raised to 1011, which means there are 11 into 11 into 11 into 11, 1011 times. And you are trying to divide by 9. When you try to divide by 9, do we agree? Each 11 is going to give us a remainder of 2. Correct? Which means there are now 1011 2's, which is what we have written, that 2 raised to 1011 by 9. I know that 2 cube divided by 9 is going to give me a remainder of -1. 8 divided by 9, remainder is -1. Correct? And 1011 is actually, if you see, 1 plus 1 plus 1. So it is a multiple of 3. So I can write this as 2 cube multiplied with some number so as to give me 1011. What is that? It will be 330 and 7 divided by 9. So I know this part is going to give me a remainder of -1. -1 raised to an odd number is -1. -1 raised to odd is -1. Hence this whole thing, this whole bit is going to give me a remainder of -1. -1 remainder when divided by 9, in other words, is nothing but a remainder of 8. So the first bit is giving us a remainder of 8. Let's go to the second bit now. 1011 divided by 11. 1011 divided by, raised to 11, divided by 9. Now, 1011, if you see, is a multiple of 3, we've just seen, correct? So it's a multiple of 3, but not a multiple of 9. What you have to understand is that 1011 will have 1 3. The other 1011 will have another 3. So there are 11 1011s, correct? Which means there are 11 3's in the numerator. In the denominator, there are only 2 3's because it's a 9, 3 into 3. Which means this is exactly going to be divisible. Okay, so here the remainder is going to be 0. Okay, you don't have to do anything. So basically our final answer is 8 plus 0. We are going to say option A, 8. Moving on to the next question. Next question is also a very, very simple application of a very simple property A raised to n and B raised to n. The question is formed in a way that which of the following is divisible by something. Which of the following means we have to go through all the options. If you look at all of the options are in the terms of addition. Which means we are trying to think of A raised to n plus B raised to n being divisible by something. So if I am able to write the options as A raised to n in terms of A raised to n, B raised to n, where what is asked, this guy, these are our A and B, 3 raised to 10 and 2, then I think we should be able to do. See, the funda is very simple. A raised to n plus B raised to n is divisible by A plus B when n is odd. This is the only simple property that is applicable here, that is required, that you need to know to be able to get to this answer. Okay. Okay, so now let's look at the first option. If I write 3 raised to 20 in terms of 3 raised to 10, it is going to be what? 3 raised to 10 square and 2 square. N is even here. It is not divisible. A raised to n plus b raised to n. So it's like something, it's like saying a square plus b square. A square plus b square is not divisible by a plus b. It's not even divisible by a minus b. But anyway, if you look at the third option now, because I want something odd, I can write this third option as 3 raised to 10's cube and 2 cube. Now, if you see, this is our A, this is our B. So, it's like saying A cube plus B cube. A cube plus B cube, n is odd, has to be divisible by A plus B, which is 3 raised to 10 plus 2. So, we're going to say option C is divisible by 3 raised to 10 plus 2. It's an absolutely oral question. You should not even have to touch your pen if you know that this is the property that we are going to use. Moving on to the next question. This question is actually disguised or masked as a determinant question, or you may be afraid of this P of 0, P of 1, P of 2 and all of that. But believe me, it's a very, very simple algebra question, very, very simple equation question. We just have to form a few equations and do. Actual thing that we're going to do is only algebra. No determinant, no advanced properties of matrices are required. It is just disguised in that way. So I would put this as maybe somewhere in between easy and moderate, not even to the level of moderate. Okay, but anyway, so they've said P of x is a quadratic polynomial. So P of x is a normal. What is the standard form of a normal quadratic polynomial? Ax square plus bx plus c. Correct? P of 0, they have said 2. P of 0, they have said 2. So we'll just replace x with 0. So P of 0. When P of 0, when x becomes 0, A becomes 0, B becomes 0. This is equal to C. This they have said is equal to 2. So from here we understand C is equal to 2. Another information they have given, P of 1, P of 2 and P of 3 is 14. So when we substitute x as 1, 2, 3, we'll get some equations in A, B and all of that. We just solve them and we get our values. That's all. Okay. So let's go to P1. P of 1 is going to be what? A plus B plus C. C we know is 2. So I'm directly going to say 2. That's P of 1. What is P of 2? P of 2 is replacing x with 2. So this guy becomes 4A plus 2b plus 2, right? Go to P of 3. P of 3 is 3 square 9a plus 3b plus 2. They have said that addition of all these three guys is 14. Okay, so when you add these three and you add these three, this is going to be equal to 14. This is 9 and 4, 13 and 1, 14 times a plus 6b plus 6. So we can say what? We can say 14a plus 6b is equal to 14 minus 6, 8. I'm going to simplify this further to 7a plus 3b, which is equal to 4. This is our one equation. Okay. Now, go back to the original question. They have given this in the form of a determinant and they said determinant is equal to 0. So, our next equation is going to come from this. From here, you understand it's a simple 2 by 2. So, it is P0 into P2 minus P0 into P1 is equal to 0. Correct? P0 into P2 minus P0 into P1 is equal to 0. I am going to take P0 common. Let me just write it here. P of 0 I am going to take common. P of 1 minus P of 2, this is going to be equal to 0. This is just the same thing that I've got from the determinant. P of 0 is what? We know 2. P of 1 is what? A plus B plus 2. Correct? So, A plus B plus 2 minus P of 2, which is minus 4A minus 2B minus 2. This whole thing is equal to 0. This is going to give us our next equation. So, 2 and 2 can cancel. A minus 4A is minus 3A. This 2 in fact can cancel with 0. So, this is minus 3A and B minus 2B is minus B and that is equal to 0. Let's multiply with minus signs. So, 3A plus B is equal to 0. So, let's use that as our second equation. 3a plus b is equal to 0. Let's multiply this with 3 to give us a 9a and 3b. 9a, 3b, let's subtract the first from the second. So, minus, minus and minus. 9a minus 7a, 2a. 3b minus 3b will cancel. 0 minus 4 is minus 4. Therefore, a will be equal to minus 2. 2a is minus 4, a is minus 2. A is minus 2, we can put this in 3a plus b equals to 0, this particular line, therefore get the value of b. Now 3a is minus 6, b minus 6, minus 6 plus b is 0, so b is going to be equal to 6. So b is 6. Now it's very simple, we know a, b, c, we are asked p4. So p4 is what? Let me just find some space, make some space for p4. So P4 is going to be equal to 16 times x squared, 16 times a, which is minus 2. So 16 into minus 2 is minus 32. Bx, so b is 6 and 6 into 4, 24. So minus 32 plus 24 and plus c, which is 2. So 24 into 26, 26 and minus 32. Answer is going to be minus 6. That's our final answer, option C. Moving on to the next question. Next question, I would put it as moderate. Concept involved is simple. It is just a compound interest question, but it is slightly calculative. So it may just take some time. Had this question been in essay, I would have happily done this and would have probably categorized it as easy question because should be definitely done. Essay we have some time. MCQ will be slightly short of time, so it may just get a little calculative. However, I have two approaches to solve this question. One is the normal calculative approach, but yes, there is a shortcut also. We'll discuss both the approaches. First, let's discuss the normal approach. So, Anindita has invested a total of 1 lakh rupees and 3 schemes ABC. So, let's just write this as A, B and C. Total is 1 lakh. She has invested 30,000 in scheme A. So, 30k here, and scheme A's rate of interest is 10%. The total interest after 1 year she got, they have said, is 10,600 rupees. Out of that, obviously, 3,000 rupees must be from A. So, B and C must have contributed 7,600 rupees, correct? So, 7,600 rupees has come from B and C. We obviously need to find what is the ratio of the amount invested, the pending amount. Remaining amount is 70,000. Out of that 70, how much has been put in B and C is what we need to find. That we are going to find through alligation. We know that the total interest received from both of them is 7,600. Rates are what? B's rate is 8% and 12%. So if we had invested the whole 70,000 at 8%, we would have got 5,600. So one amount, let me just do the alligation here, 5,600, the complete amount invested at 8%. Complete amount invested at 12% would have been 12 into 7, 84. So 8,400. In fact, all of them have zeros. We can just simply get rid of them. So 84, 76, 56, 76 is 20, and this guy is 6 and 4. So this is 8. So we can simplify this. This is 4 2 times and this is 5 times. So 2:5 ratio thankfully came simple, 2:5, which means 70,000 has to be divided as 20,000 and 50,000. Correct? That is what the first thing that we need to figure. Now, obviously, we know this is 8% and this is 12%. 7,600 we don't need here. I'm just going to clear it. Yeah. We need to find the interest in the second year. For the first year, what is the interest? 8 into 20,000. It is going to be 8%. So 8 upon 100 into 20,000. See, 20,000. 1% is 10% is going to be 20,000, 1 0 less, so 2,000. 1% is going to be 1 more 0 less, so 200. 8 into 200 is 1,600. That's how I generally do my calculations. So first year from the scheme B, I'm going to get 1,600. 12 into 5, 6,000. So here from the scheme C in the first year, I'm going to get 6,000. Second year, these interests are going to increase by the same percentage. So 3k increased by 10 becomes 3300. 1600 plus 160, so 1760, and 6000 plus 600, so this is 6600, correct? Now, this obviously is only the interest bit. We have not covered the interest on the interest. But see, if you look at the options are 11, 22, 19 and 10. They are quite far. So, I am just going to take the liberty of being a little approximate here. What is the addition here? 33 plus 17 should take me to 50. 50 and 66 is taking me to 116. So, 116 something should be my answer. 116 something should be my answer. My nearest option is going to be option A, 11,748. So, I am not getting into the actual calculation of 30,000 becoming, see, the actual way would have been 30,000 increased by 3%, so 33,000. 33,000 increased by 3% would have given us the number. Then 20,000 increased by 8 and 8 successively, so 20 and 1600, so 21,600. 21,600's 8% would have been slightly difficult to calculate. 56,000 would have, C would have become 56,000, and then 56,000's 12%, again slightly difficult, but we have reached the vicinity of the answer. Options are far away, hence we can take this approach. Okay, so I hope you've understood. This is our approximate calculation, 11,600 something I'm getting. Our closest option is 11,748. Now, let's see a shortcut method here. Okay, now see, the shortcut that is possible, again, because the options are very, very far, you can actually get out of this question very, very quickly. The total amount invested is basically 1 lakh rupees. Now, in that 1 lakh rupees, across all the 3 schemes, what we are getting is 10,600 rupees, correct? Roughly, the effective interest across all the 3 schemes with all 8, 10, 12 and the different amounts that they have put, we saw 30k, 20k, 50k. We don't even have to get into it, but I'm saying broadly, this is 10% rate of interest, correct? If this rate of interest is 10%, the next year, the interest on that interest will also be 10%, correct? Which means 10,600 will be increased by 10%. What is the 10% of this guy? 1060. So, you get 11,660 here, correct? Again, because the options are very far, 11,660, there is only one option that is very close, and you could have directly marked option A, 11,748. So, broadly, I would think that this is the fastest way to solve this question rather than getting into a lot of calculations. If this thing strikes, this question actually becomes a very, very simple question. Moving on to the next question. Next question is a logarithmic question, but very few properties of log are required here. So, I think you should be able to do it. If you look at your options, all the options are something is proportional to something. Okay, so if you just go back to even your 10th grade, something is proportional to something looks like this. When we get rid of the proportionality sign, we introduce a constant of variation. Which means if I have to reach proportionality, if I am writing something like this, I can go from here to here. So, I need to basically write the whole equation y is equal to whatever they have given in the form of something is equal to constant something. Then I will be able to reach somewhere. So, broadly, this is the direction that we are going to take. Now, they have said y is equal to a plus b times log of x to the base e. First thing that now see, they've said y is equal to something in terms of x. In general parlance, y is equal to something in x means x and y are variables. Other things like a and b, we will treat them as constants. That's an important understanding that you need to have. Okay. So, the first step, I'm going to bring a to the left hand side. Okay. So, y minus a is equal to b times log of x to the base e. I can write this as log of x raised to b to the base e. This is the only log property that is required. In fact, sorry, one more. Chalo. So, log of, so we put b to the top of x. So, log of x raised to b to the base of e. This is y minus a. Now, if you want to get rid of log, we will just have to write this in the exponential form, which means this will become e raised to y minus a, which is equal to x raised to b. The very first thing that we learn in log is to how to write something in the logarithmic form. That's exactly what we've done. So these are the only two log properties that we're going to use. Okay, now see, e raised to y minus a. See, e, you should understand, you should know that it is a constant without a doubt. Okay, now e raised to y, and it is e raised to y minus a. So let's just separate this out. So e raised to y and upon e raised to a, or it can be thought of as into e raised to minus a also. That is also all right. So this is e raised to minus a, which is equal to x raised to b. Now what you need to understand is that this guy e and a, this is nothing but what? This is nothing but a constant, correct? So if you see, we have written x raised to b as constant times e raised to y. So now if you, as we discussed earlier, if I go back here, it will be x raised to b is proportional to e raised to y. X raised to b is proportional to e raised to y. Do we have that option? Yes, option C. E raised to y proportional to x raised to b. Mind you, it is same, it is not different. If a is proportional to b, so is b proportional to a. So don't get confused there also. A proportional to b means same as b proportional to a. So x raised to b is proportional to e raised to y, or e raised to y proportional to x raised to b. Moving on to the next question. Again, a very straightforward progressions question. Very, very important. There is one tricky thing about this. The whole properties that they have, if you read the question, it feels like an AP, but actually the question is of GP. So a lot of students in their hurry or in the pressure because of the sheer exam, this is an actual exam question, do the reverse. Okay, so this, it's talking about GP, but the properties, if you read the question, you must have more often than not solved these questions for an AP. This they have asked for GP. So sum of the first 5 terms of a GP is the same as sum of the first 7 terms. So big clue. Sum of the first 5 terms and sum of the first 7 terms is same, which means the 6th and the 7th term are not adding anything, right? Effectively, they're adding 0. Okay, because it is GP, I'm just going to let's say AR squared, AR cube, AR4. This is our 5 terms, AR5 and AR6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7th. These 2 terms are not really adding anything. Okay, or essentially they're adding 0 to the sum, which means what? I can take a r raised to 5 and write 1 plus r, this is equal to 0. Basically, these 2 on addition is giving us 0. That's what the question has told us. So a into r raised to 5 is equal to 0. So this is possible when we are working only with r here. So when r is equal to 0, so this term will be 0. Or if this term is 0, r will be equal to minus 1. Correct? Problem with r is equal to 0 is that if r is equal to 0, the entire AP becomes 0. There will not be so many terms. So that's not possible, which means we are going to not work with that possibility. Only possibility is r equals to minus 1. R equals to minus 1 is the best possible outcome. R is minus 1, which means every term is essentially numerically the same with opposite signs. So this, if you can imagine, the series is like 5 minus 5, 5 minus 5, 5 minus 5, 5 minus 5. That's how the series is going to be. Okay. Further, what have they given? They've given sum of the first 9 terms is 24 and the 4th term they've asked. Okay. Sum of the first 9 terms is 24. So if you just think about it, now with the knowledge of r is equal to minus 1, the series has become what? A minus A minus A minus A minus A. So this is the series that has become. Okay, so what we have 8 terms and the 9th guy. If you see, all of these pairs are definitely going to contribute 0. How can this sum be 24? Only and only when this guy himself is 24. Correct? So we figure out that also, that A is equal to 24. What are we asked? We are asked the 4th term of the progression. 4th term of the progression is this guy, minus A. minus a means what? Minus 24. So option C. Moving on to the next question. I would put this question maybe somewhere in between slightly like moderate, but not very, very difficult also. Maybe slightly tad bit over moderate also. Okay. So they've given a normal quadratic equation 8x square minus 2kx plus k is 0 such that one root is p times the other. So I'm going to start with alpha and p times alpha. The two roots are alpha and p alpha. Okay. They have said p and k are positive real numbers and we are trying to find k. Okay. Since the equation is given, we have assumed the roots. We will start only with sum and product of the roots. Okay. Sum of the roots alpha plus beta is minus b by a. Alpha plus beta, here it is alpha plus p alpha. So let's say alpha times 1 plus p, sum of the roots is minus b by a. B here is minus 2k. Okay. So minus of minus 2k, which is 2k by 8. Okay. So alpha times 1 plus p is going to be k by 4. So alpha times 1 plus p is going to be what? Is going to be k by 4. Okay. Let's go to the product of the roots. Alpha into p alpha. So p alpha squared p is c by a. C by a is what? K by 8. Now k by 8. Now see, they have asked us k. All the options that they are given is in terms of p. So essentially what you have to understand is we have to express k in terms of p. So basically we have to get rid of one of the variables. Okay. So from the product of the roots, alpha square p is equal to k by 8. Now alpha square p k by 8 will mean what? That alpha square can be thought of as k by 8p and alpha can be thought of as root of k by 8p. So from here alpha will be equal to root of k by 8p. Okay. If alpha is k by 8p, let's bring it to the other side, alpha times 1 plus p. So let's simplify this guy. Alpha times 1 plus p. Alpha is what? Alpha is, I'm just going to also split now k, root k. Root 8p is actually 2 root 2. So 2 root 2 times root p. I've just given each of them their own root signs. This is, what I've just written is only alpha, 1 plus p. Okay. This is nothing but k by 4. Let's see what we can do with this. 2 root 2 and 4 will cancel together and leaving only a root 2 here. Root k and k will cancel, leaving only a root k here. Okay. And 1 plus p upon root p will be what? This will be 1 by root p plus p by root p is nothing but root p. Correct? So this is what is left, which is equal to root k by root 2. In fact, I can bring root 2 here. So if you see, we have actually managed to do k in terms of p. It is albeit in the form of root k. So now we can square. So if you are going to square this whole thing, you are going to get what? K is equal to squaring the left hand side also 2 times. 1 by root p plus root p the whole squared. Do we have such a thing in the option? Yes. So we're going to say option D as our answer. Moving on to the next question. Absolutely jackpot of a question. If you see this question, it is unbelievable how much time you have saved in the scenario of an exam. Okay, they have given f of x as a squared x squared. Okay, this guy a squared is where the game is over for me. Okay, a squared x squared plus 2bx plus c. They have given a is not equal to 0, b, c are real numbers, x is real. Okay. And all the options are whether f of x has a maximum or a minimum or no max, no min, whatever. What you have to understand is a very simple funda that quadratic's plot is a parabola. Correct? If a is greater than 0, the parabola opens upwards. If a is less than 0, the parabola opens downwards. If you even know this much, it is enough. A is essentially what? The coefficient of x square. What is the coefficient of x square in our question? In our question, the coefficient of x square is a squared. That's what I tell you, that's where the game is over. It is a squared. A squared, square of a number can never be negative. Correct. And the least it can be 0, and they have said that A is not 0, which means A is definitely positive. So coefficient of x square is a positive guy, they have said it. Okay. If it is a positive guy, the only possibility is a parabola opening upwards. For any parabola opening upwards, it is obvious that it will have a minimum and it extends infinitely in the upward direction, which means it won't have a maximum. As simple as this. Okay. So only because I had to explain this, I had to do these many things with my pen. Otherwise, this was a 10 to 15 second question without touching your pen, oral question. Okay. So yes, what options are we marking? We are marking option which has a minimum but no maximum. Yes. So option C is what we are marking. Moving on to the next question now. Next question, it looks slightly maybe lengthy, tricky, but believe me, it's an easy question. Okay. Triangle with side lengths of 4, 6 and 9. Dog runs around the triangle in such a way that the shortest distance of the dog from the triangle is exactly 1 meters. Around the triangle, always the distance is 1 meter. This is the only tricky part in the question. Okay. I'm going to first draw the triangle. Let's say each side is 4, 6 and 9. Doesn't look like, but please bear with me. So this is 4, 6 and 9. If the dog is running around the triangle with the distance of 1 meter, the dog is going to run, let's see, in these lines. So this light orange colored lines are the nothing but 4, 6 and 9. Correct? Important is the vertex. Around the vertex also, the dog is always only 1 meter away, which means it has to be something in the form of a circle. Something like this and something like this or something. Okay, so let me just, instead of doing my own fancy drawing, I have circles now. Okay, so the point being, the dog will cover this much distance on the circular path, then again go straight, cover this much distance on the circular path and again go straight on this line and again cover only the circular bit here and go straight. So if you think about it properly, let me just use a different color now. This bit and this bit is, the distance is 1. This distance is 1. It's a rectangle because it is tangent. So this is going to be 9. Similarly, this bit and this bit, this distance is 4. This bit and this bit, this distance is 6. So the outer boundary where the dog is running is definitely 4 plus 6 plus 9. So it's definitely 19 for sure. Now we have to add this part. Only this much. Correct. Now, actually, it is 19 plus something. I would, if I have to cheat, I would put option D as my answer, maybe just go quickly out of it. But there is also a 22 and options are more than 19. So let's not take chances. If you see this part and this part, they're actually only 1/3 of the circles. Beauty is that there are 3 1/3 of the circle. There are 3 1/3 of the circle is actually one full circle with radius what? With radius 1. So what is the length of the perimeter, or rather the length of the distance in the circular fashion? Circumference of the circle with radius 1. What is the circumference formula? 2 pi r. What is r? 2 pi. Okay. So basically it is going to be 19 plus 2 pi. 2 pi is the addition of the 3 1/3 of the circle's circumference whose radius is 1. Okay, so that way it's a very, very easy question once you get the diagram right. Okay, so getting the diagram right, or rather getting that area across around the vertex, is the only tricky part in this question. So yes, option D is what we are marking. Moving on to the next question. So next question looks tricky. It is slightly tricky. I would not put this as very, very easy, simple. But if you just look at this guy, this is what they've given, and they've asked the roots of. They've asked roots raised to 2025. A1, A2, A3. They are all roots. Everybody raised to 2025. The sum they've asked. If I just write this reverse, 1 plus x plus x squared plus x cubed and so on till x raised to 8. this is equal to 0. This should tell you something. If you were not able to, crack this question in the actual exam when you took it, or if you're seeing this video for the first time, seeing this question for the first time, the moment I reverse this should tell you something. If you look carefully, this is nothing but what? A GP. It's a GP with a common ratio of x. We are multiplying successively each term with x and reaching the next term. Correct? So this is nothing but sum of a GP which is given equal to 0. So we can just apply the simple sum of the GP formula. What is the sum of the GP formula? A times A is the first term, so it is just 1 times. Correct? What is the formula here? The total. Okay, total number of terms. So r raised to n, which is 9 here. So this is going to be equal to what? X raised to 9 minus the first term upon the x minus 1. Correct? Now this thing is, they have said, equal to 0. X raised to 9 minus 1 upon x minus 1 is equal to 0. X minus 1 cannot be equal to 0. If x minus 1 is equal to 0, this whole x will be equal to 1. And if x is equal to 1, this whole thing cannot, if all x's are 1s, imagine, then that cannot be equal to 0. So this is definitely not equal to 0. So we can say x raised to 9 minus 1 is equal to 0, x raised to 9 is equal to 1. So x raised to 9 is equal to 1. Remember that x is the variable of the equation, which means all the roots will satisfy this particular part. So the root's 9th power is 1. But what we are asked is the root's 2025th power. Thankfully, or very strategically, 2025 is a multiple of 9. Correct? So I can write this as a1, a2, a3, they are all roots, x is also root. So let's think of everybody in terms of x only. X raised to 9 raised to 225. 9 into 225 is nothing but 2025. 9 into 200 is 1800 and 9 into 25 is 225. So 1800 plus 225 is 2025. So x raised to 9 raised to 225 is we can write the first term like this. Obviously, we can write all the terms like this. So this is something like this 8 times. Correct? Each guy is equal to 1. So there will be 8 ones, and therefore our final answer is going to be 8. Option D. So for me, I think the breakthrough in the question came when I was able to think of this as a GP. Once I just think of it as a GP and I understand that x raised to 9 is 1 and instead of x we can put the roots, then the question becomes very, very manageable. Moving on to the next question. This is a very, very simple question. Only one thing that you have to understand. They say if you get stuck in this max of ABC, min of ABC, then it's going to be a tricky part. They've said all the three ABC are 3 real numbers. So I'm just going to start with a very simple assumption that A greater than B greater than C. Everybody would have been in some order. I'm just assuming A greater than B greater than C, which means max of ABC is going to be what? A. Min of ABC is going to be what? C. So A plus C, 50. Median of ABC, the middle guy, is going to be B. And mean of ABC. Mean of ABC is what? A plus B plus C by 3. This whole thing. Now difference is 2, they have said. Okay, so the question suddenly becomes very simple. What we are asked, we have asked the median, which means we just have to find the value of B. We even know A plus C, so we'll be able to get rid of A plus C. Okay. So in fact, we can just put A plus C as 15 here. Let's take the LCM. So 3B minus A plus C, which is 15, minus B, the whole by 3 is equal to 2. So 3B minus B is 2B. 2B and 3 and 2 will go there. So it becomes 6 and 15 also goes to the right hand side, becomes 21. And the sum is over. 21 by 2, 10.5. As simple as that. Okay. So we're going to say option D as our answer here. Moving on to the next question. It's a pretty standard format of a question. It's just that it's slightly longer. Otherwise, this would have been a very straightforward. It is actually a very straightforward textbook question. If you've done even few questions on logarithms as a chapter, you must have encountered this kind of a question. Format is definitely not unknown for sure. It's just that slightly longer. That's about it. So we are going to follow the same format. I am going to tackle this whole question in reverse. Let me just write this. Log of 25, base 25. I'm just going to copy the whole thing. 5 times log of, this is 3, 1 plus log of base 3 again, 1 plus 2 times log of x to the base 2. Okay, and so basically this is where my first bracket comes. This is where my second bracket comes, and this is where my third bracket comes. This is equal to half, they've said. Okay. Now, so basically log of something. What is that something? Let me use a different color now. Yeah. Log of this bit. Let me use a bigger box. Log of this bit to the base 25, log of that green box to the base 25 is half, which means, so what should be that value? That something to the base of 25 will be half, means what? So 25 raised to half, 25 raised to half is 5, which means this green box should give us the value 5, correct? Which means everything in that green box should simplify to 5. First breakthrough in the question. Okay, now let's go inside the green box. Inside the green box, what is it? It is 5 into something. We want the whole green box only to be 5. So 5 into something, which means that something now has to be equal to 1. Only then 5 into 1 will give us 5. Correct? Which means now, if you have to think, this part needs to be what? Blue box needs to be what? This part needs to be 1. If the blue box is 1, 5 into 1 will be 5, and 5 to the base of 25 will give us half. That's where we want to reach. So now we have gone one level inside, deeper, that the blue box needs to be 1. If the blue box needs to be 1, log of something to the base 3, when is it 1? When that something is equal to the base, correct? Which means that something now has to be equal to 3. Which means now, let me use another color now. This guy needs to be what? This guy needs to be 3. Only then 3 to the base 3 will give us 1. So again, inside that it is 1 plus something. So that 1 plus something means that something again now has to be 2, because the total needs to be 3. Which means this part needs to be 2. And if that part needs to be 2, what will it be? It has to be the inside part, this bit. Let me just write it now outside, has to be 9, because log of 9 to the base 3 will be equal to 2, correct? So that bit has 9. What is 9? 1 plus something is 9. If 1 plus something is 9, that something has to be 8, which means this guy again needs to be 8. When will that be 8? 2 times log of x to the base 2 is 8. 2 and 8 can cancel. 4. So log of x to the base 2 is 4, which means it has now simplified to log of x to the base 2 is 4. X will be equal to 2 raised to 4. X will be 16. Okay. I could have actually solved this question orally. Okay. It's a very, very simple. It's a standard format. You should be used to such kind of questions when you are doing logarithms. So we're going to mark option D, 16 here as our answer. Moving on to the next question. Next question looks like a coordinate geometry question, and it is a coordinate geometry question for fact of matter, but it's a very, very simple question. Okay, circle is touching, this is very important, touching the y-axis, passing through the point. So it is very important for you to understand how to draw the diagram. Touching means there is only one point in common. Passing through means intersecting. Okay, so this point they have said is touching, so this point is actually 4. And passing through the point minus 2, 0. So this guy is minus 2. Okay. Let's say the center is somewhere here. Okay. Then the radius of the circle is what it is what we are asked. Okay. So from here, let's say the center is here. If I am going to draw the radius, this is my capital R. This, in fact, no, this, I don't know if it is required, but not now for sure. Let me go here. This bit is also R, right? Now have a look at this bit. If I just drop a perpendicular from here, this becomes a right angled triangle. This much is 2, the distance is 2, which means this distance is also 2, correct? Now, if this distance is 2 and the vertical distance is 4, do we agree the vertical distance, which means this part, will be equal to 4? This much part, what is left, will be equal to 2, and sorry, this will be R minus 2, my mistake. This is R minus 2, and this is our complete R. So we now have a right angled triangle whose one side is 4, other side is R minus 2, and the hypotenuse is R. Correct? At this point, obviously it is most tempting to apply the Pythagoras theorem. This squared plus this squared is equal to this squared, but don't do that, or okay, if you do till here, after this you are in an MCQ section, remember, not in essay. Start plugging in your options, it will be very, very fast. Okay, and you should also know triplets. So triplets, if you see 4, the most common triplet you would want to try is 5 and 3. If this guy is 5, is this 3? Yes, 5 minus 2 is 3, which means option D works. Simple, 3, 4 and 5, correct? R is 5, R minus 2 is 3, the other guy is 4, so 3, 4 and 5 is the most common Pythagorean triplet you are ever going to come across. So yes, very straightforward, option D. Moving on to the next question, very surprisingly, exactly same question has been asked in the IPMAT exam only before, and it's a very, very common question. If you have studied properly, you must have come across this question, this exact question. But even if you have not, it's all right. They've said 1 plus 1 by 2 square, 1 by 3 square, 1 by 4 square, so on till is pi square by 6. What is asked is 1 by 3 square, 1 by 5 square, 1 by 7 square. What I want you to observe very properly is that what is asked is actually only the odd terms. What is given are all the terms, which means from of all the terms, if we subtract even terms, we will reach where we want. Correct? So from here, from this part, what is given, if I subtract 1 by 2 square, 1 by 4 square, 1 by 6 square, 1 by 8 square, do we agree we will reach to what is asked? That's all that we need to do. Okay. Now, this part, this part minus the even parts, correct? Minus the even terms. But this is, I'm going to write simply as pi square by 6. Minus the even terms. What are the even terms? Even terms are 1 by 2 square, 1 by 4 square, 1 by 6 square, and so on and so forth. So effectively, this is what is asked, because from pi square by 6, which is actually all terms, I subtract even terms, I am going to be left with odd terms, which is what is asked, right? So I hope so far you guys are following. Now from the even terms, let's keep pi square by 6 as it is for now. We can take 1 by 2 square common. So 1 by 4 comes out. 1 by 4 comes out, and what I am left with is 1. 1 by 4 square. 1 by 4 comes out, so what I am left with is 1 by 2 squared. From 6 squared, if I take 2 square outside, what I am left with is 3 square, so 1 by 3 square. What will be the next term? 4 square, and so on. So if you see, the beauty is that this is nothing but we already know it is what is given, pi square by 6. So essentially it is nothing but pi square by 6 minus 1/4 of pi square by 6. Pi square by 6 minus 1/4 of pi square by 6. What is left? 3/4 of pi square by 6. So the final answer is 3/4 of pi square by 6. So this is going to cancel 2 times, and what I am left with is pi square by 8. That's about it. Do we have that? Yes. Option D is going to be the answer here. Moving on to the next question. A question on coordinate geometry. But if you have done the chapter on coordinate geometry, it is I would say easy level question, slightly more than easy, but for all practical purposes easy. If you haven't done coordinate geometry, it's obviously you cannot even enter the question, you should be going ahead in the exam scenario. But the benefit of doing such chapters and not leaving such chapters are such straightforward questions are asked. Okay, there's a very simple formula in coordinate geometry on angle between two lines. Tan theta, what is that formula? Tan theta, which is angle between the two lines, is nothing but m1 minus m2, they are the slopes of the two lines, upon 1 plus m1 into m2, and the whole thing is in a mod. Straightforward application of this formula and it is done. Okay, so they've said two lines, out of which one line's 2 points are given A and B. So we can very easily find out the slope of one guy. The other guy's slope they've said is m. Okay, and they've given the angle also. So in fact, once we substitute everything, there is only one thing unknown, which is m. So tan 45 is 1. So this becomes simple. This is equal to mod of, let's find the slope of 1, y2 minus y1, y2 minus y1. So 3 minus 1 upon x2 minus x1, 1 minus 5. So this is 2 upon minus 4, which is minus half. One guy is minus half. So let's say we keep the first guy as m. So m minus half is going to be m plus half upon 1 minus half into the other guy. So m by 2. This is what is going to be reduced to. So now the thing is mod. So when we open, we'll have to take both the possibilities. So that's what we're going to start with. First positive possibility, m plus half upon 1 minus m by 2 is equal to 1. 1, I'm going to just cross multiply. So m plus half gives me 1 minus m by 2. So m and m by 2 comes to the left hand side, becomes plus. So 3m by 2 is equal to 1 half goes there, becomes half. So this guy cancels and m is equal to 1 by 3. So one value of m is equal to 1 by 3. Now one value is m 1 by 3. If I look at options, there are two options which have 1 by 3. So C and D definitely are out, but we'll have to solve it further. Other possibility when we took mod was minus 1. So let's start with that. Now solve for that. So m plus half is equal to minus 1 times 1 minus m by 2. We can reverse it and just write it directly. So m by 2 minus 1. So m minus m by 2 will be m by 2, and minus 1 minus half is minus 3 by 2. So this and this is cancelled. M is equal to minus 3. So the two values are minus 3 and 1 by 3. Minus 3 and 1 by 3, we are going to say option A as our answer. Moving on to the next question. Again, a very straightforward question of the chapter of probability. If you have done the chapter of probability, this I would not put this as a B or a C also. It's definitely in the doable category, A category. Now, A and B take part in a rifle shooting, and A's and B's probability is given. A's hitting is 0.4, therefore missing will be 0.6. B's hitting is 0.6, so missing will be 0.4. If A has the first shot, post which both strike alternately. So A strikes, then B strikes, then A strikes, then B strikes, then A strikes, then B strikes, whatever. Probability that A hits the target before B. So what are the possible scenarios is what you have to think first. The possible scenario, see, A has to be always the first guy taking the shot. So the possibility is that A takes the shot and A hits the target, the best case outcome. Or in probability, or is nothing but plus. A misses. A misses. We have to work for A hitting. So B cannot be hitting. So after that B comes, but B misses. And then A comes and A hits. This is another case. Another case will be what? You should now get the drift. A misses the first time. B misses the first time. A misses the second time. B misses the second time. And A hits the third time. Okay, so we are still working alternately and ensuring that A is hitting the target. So if you just write this in the form of the probabilities, put the numbers to it, I think we'll understand. So A is hitting the target is 0.4. So it is 0.4 plus A missing is 0.6. B missing is 0.4. So 0.6 into 0.4 into 0.4. 4. A hitting, correct? Plus A missing, so 0.6, B missing 0.4, A missing again 0.6, B missing again 0.4, and then there is a 0.4, and so on and so forth. This will keep on happening till the time A manages to hit the target, correct? So if you see, this is nothing but an infinite what? Infinite GP. 0.4, and if you see, we are multiplying every term with 0.6 into 0.4. 0.6 into 0.4, this, if you see, this basically multiplied to the second term gets to the third term, and so on and so forth. So it's an infinite GP whose first term is 0.4 and whose common ratio is 0.6 into 0.4, correct? So S infinity formula is what? A upon 1 minus R. A is my 0.4 upon 1 minus 0.24, 0.76. So 40 and 76 cancel with what? 4. So it's going to be 10 over 19. Yes. So this is our answer. Do we have that? Yes. Option B. It's a very typical category of the question. So if you have done your probability chapter, you must have again gone through such kind of questions. So therefore, I am not thinking of this as a very, very tricky or an unfamiliar question. It is very much in the doable category. Moving on to the next question now. So time, speed, distance question, but it's a question of a swimming pool. Swimming pool, there is only one thing different than maybe a circular track or something. Circular races are something common. Students have solved the question. Swimming pool is slightly a rarer category. But anyway, we'll see this. Swimming pool is basically nothing but a straight line, correct? So, let me use a different color. Let's say the swimming pool is like this. I'm just first explaining the concept of people meeting in a swimming pool, and then we apply that to our question. Okay. Now, let's say A and B. A is here, B is here. Obviously, both of them are going to swim towards each other. For both of them to meet at any point, okay, let's randomly assume that they meet at, say, this point. A is very slow, B is very fast, let's say. So, A has swum only this much and B has swam this much. What you have to understand is the sum total of the distances covered by both. Sum total of the distance covered by both is equal to what? Is equal to 1 lap or 1 length of the swimming pool at the meeting point, at their first meeting point. Okay, they have meted, greeted, said hi and all of that, and now they continue swimming. When they continue swimming, what will happen? Let's see. A goes ahead, so A will go all the way to B and B will go all the way to A, or rather the first point. Now they are at opposite ends. Now they again want to meet, which means B will again start swimming. B is going to be swimming very, very quickly. So let's say B swims till here and A is able to convert only this much, or rather swim only this much. Which means before they meet for the second time, the lines that I have marked in green is the distance they have swam. If you see properly, the distance they have swam is now equivalent to, or rather equal to 2 times the length of the swimming pool. Correct? The sum total of the distances swam by each of them is equal to 2 times the length of the swimming pool. This is the only important funda or the important distinction in a swimming pool vis-a-vis a circular race. Okay. In a circular race, when people are running towards each other, every time the relative distance to be covered to meet is length of the track. In a swimming pool, for the first time to meet, the relative distance to be covered is length of the track. For every consecutive meeting, the relative distance to be covered is 2 times the length of the track. Okay, that is the important concept, and this is what we are going to use in our question now. So now our question says that A is taking 10 minutes, B covers in 15 minutes. So they have given us the ratio of the time. So time of A is 10 minutes and time of B is 15, 2 and 3. Therefore, speed of A and speed of B is in the ratio 3/2. Okay, speeds are 3/2, time is 10 and 15. So I'm just going to start my question with assuming the length of the swimming pool to be 30 meters. Okay, if the length of the pool is 30 meters, for the first time they have to meet, it will be what? Relative distance upon relative speed. People moving towards each other, relative speed is addition. Speed is what? 3 by 2, so 5. So they are going to meet after 6 minutes. Very important. From now on, every time they have to swim what? They have to swim 60 meters and not 30 meters. Correct? So, if 30 meters they are meeting after 6 minutes, in 60 meters they will meet after 12 minutes. So, now every 12th minute they will keep meeting. And this thing is going on till what? This is going on till 80 minutes, which means 6 at the end of the 6th minute. Then 12 more minutes before they meet. So, they will meet at 12 plus 6, 18th minute. 12 more minutes that they will meet before they meet next. So, 30, 42, 54 and 66 and one more 78. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 times they will meet in this whole scenario. Okay, so option B. So, if you are aware of the concept, I think the sum is pretty straightforward. You will be able to quickly do this. If not, then I hope you've understood the concept and now you should be able to do such questions very quickly. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Now, next question is on logarithms. Slightly difficult, I would say. So, I would put between B and C, maybe more towards B than towards C. Actually, very basic properties are going to be used, but obviously you need to know those properties. So, yes, we need to find the set of all values of x which satisfy this particular inequality. The first base, which is what you have to focus on to begin with, x plus 1 by x. The very first basic property you should know is that the base and the number both, they can't be negative, right? You can't find logarithm of a negative number and the base also cannot be negative. So, x plus 1 by x definitely has to be positive. But because x plus 1 by x, the number that it is a number plus its reciprocal. The property is that such a expression or such an addition of a number and its reciprocal is always greater than 2. Is always greater than 2. Okay, so that's the first thing that you have to understand. Now, look at the inner log. Now, in this particular log, the base is given to be 2 and the argument, which is x minus 1 upon x plus 2. X minus 1 upon x plus 2, that number and the base. See, we know now that x has to be greater than 2, correct? So, x minus 1 and x plus 2 both are going to be positive and 2 is also positive. When the number and the base is positive, the log is greater than 1. When the number and the base is positive, so for example, this guy to this base has to be greater than 1, that is for sure. Which means when we get rid of log, what do we work with? We work with x minus 1 upon x plus 2 greater than 2. I'm getting rid of the log and writing it in the exponential form. So, x minus 1 upon x plus 2 has to be greater than 2. That is what we begin our question with. So, okay, so now we just quickly simply solve it. X minus 1 greater than. Basically, you know x plus 2, x is positive, you know, so x plus 2 also will be positive. So, when you multiply both sides of the inequality with x plus 2, the inequality will not change. So, this guy becomes 2 times x plus 4, right? Subtracting x from both sides, what you get? Minus 1 greater than 2x minus x, so it has to be x plus 4. Adding 1 to both sides, you have a 0 greater than x plus so we are adding 1, so 4 plus 1, 5, correct? So, x plus 5 greater than 0, when you subtract 5 from both sides, what are you going to get? Minus 5 greater than x. In essence, we are saying x is less than minus 5. It is not possible. When we solve, we say that x is lying to the left of minus 5 on the number line, but it is simply not possible because we know that x has to be positive. So, actually none of the values are satisfying. So, we are going to mark option A, null set, as our answer. Moving on to the next question. Now, this question I think is doable. It's slightly lengthy, but it is not very difficult to understand. So, that way I think it is very, very doable. So, I would put somewhere between A and B. Let's see. So, there is a set S1 with 100, 105, whatever, and S2 with 195 and so on. Two series in AP. If AK, BK are the kth terms of whatever the S1 and S2, then summation K equals to 1 to 20 AK into BK equals what? Let us just quickly decode what does this mean for people who don't or are not familiar with summation. This particular sign is summation. Summation is just addition. Addition of what? A1, B1 plus A2B2 plus A3B3 plus A4B4 till when they have said K is 20. So it will go on till 20. So basically, if I just have to simplify this, it is nothing but A1 into B1 plus A2 into B2 plus and so on till A20 into B20. This is what we are asked. Okay, very simply. Now let's see who is A1 and B1. A1 is this guy, B1 is this guy, which means my first term becomes 100 into 100. Second term A2 is this guy, B2 is this guy. So 105 times 95 plus 110 times 90 plus so on till the 20th term, till we reach the 20th term. Can you guess what will be the 20th term in S2? See, S2, the series is starting with the 100, which is 20th multiple of 5. Correct? So, the first term or rather 20 terms after that is going to be equal to what? The final term will be equal to 200 into 0. So, that term we can negate or rather eliminate. We don't really have to worry about it. Okay? So, this basically is going to go on till 195 times 5. Now, pretty simple. This guy, you can just think of this as 100 square. This guy, you can think of it as 100 minus 5 plus 100 into 100 plus 5, correct? So, it is a plus b, a minus b. I would think of this as a square minus b squared, right? And similarly, a squared minus b squared and so on and so forth till when? Till the 19th term. The 20th term is going to be 0. So, basically, this is going to go on till 100 square minus 19 square, right? Okay, so now what do we have? We have 20 such 100 squares. So, I am going to separate them out. So, 20 into 100 square, I am going to separate it out and then take a minus common. And then what I am going to write? I am going to say this is actually 5 square, 10 square till the time 19 square. Right? And again, if you take 5 square common, you will have 1 square plus, sorry, this has to be not 19 actually, but 95. So, then when we take 5 out, you will have 19. So, I am going to take 5 square out. So, this becomes 1 square. This becomes 2 square. Okay, and so on till 90. So, 20 into 100 square we have minus 5 square into 1 square from 1 square to 19 square. So, this is pretty simple. Addition of first n natural numbers, n into n plus 1 into 2n plus 1 upon 6. So, 19 into 20 into 39, 38, 2 into 19, 38 plus 1, 39 upon 6. This much is the bracket. I will have to multiply 25 before that into 20 into 100 square. 100 square I know is 2 zeros and another 2 zeros and a 20. So, 0 and 2. So, whatever this number turns out to be, what is this turning out to be? 2 lakhs. Okay, we don't really bother that much. Now, let's quickly cancel 6. This will be 13 and 2 and 10. Okay, now, when you multiply 25 with 19, 10 and 13, just have a look at the last digit. So, 25 into 9, 9 into 5 is going to end in 5. Into 0, so it's going to end in 0 and then into anything doesn't really matter. So, basically this term, entire term is going to end in 0. 2 lakh minus something ending in 0 has to end in 0. So, if you have a look at your option, there is only one option ending in 0. All other options are ending in 5. I am not even going to calculate. I am straight away marking option A as my answer. Moving on to the next question. Now, this is a pretty simple question. You should have done this in your actual exam. Area of a regular octagon inscribed in a circle of radius 1. So, we have given the radius. Let's quickly draw the diagram. Let's say this is my octagon. Okay, regular octagons, obviously all sides are equal. We are trying to find area of this. So, the simplest way to do this is I am going to create a triangle. And it's octagon 8 sides. So, I am going to just multiply this area of this triangle times 8. Okay. So, what is the, see, I know this as 1, I know this as 1 and I also know that area of a triangle I can use half AB sine theta. Why this? Because I know the two sides, I will also be able to find this angle out. How? the entire central angle is 360. That is now divided into 8 parts, which means if I do 360 by 8, 360 is half is 180, is half is 90, is half is 45. So this is straight away 45. And this makes my life suddenly very simple, because that interior angle 45, I know sine of 45 also, it's very simple, correct? So I'm going to straight away do 8 times half AB sine theta. So half A, B and sine theta, sine 45, which is nothing but 1 by root 2. Okay, so this will cancel 4 times and root 2 will cancel 4 to give us a 2 root 2. So basically area of this particular entire octagon inscribed inside a unit circle is 2 root 2. Do we have that option? Yes, option A is going to be the answer. Moving on to the next question now. Next question is on sets, but again, a moderate level question, simple to moderate, not very difficult, okay? A and B, two finite sets such that n of A minus B, number of elements in A minus B, n of A intersection B and n of B minus A are in AP. They have said in AP, okay. N of X denotes the number of elements which they have said, and A union B they have given as 18. We are asked n of A plus n of B, okay. It's actually pretty simple. You can solve it theoretically also, but just so that more people can understand, I'm just going to draw a very simple diagram, starting with the universal set. Okay, let's say this is my A and this is my B. Okay, A and B. Now, let me just change the ink. When they say A minus B is everything that is in A and everything that is in B is eliminated. Everything that is in B is eliminated. So something that is only A is A minus B. Okay. So this part, I would think of it as, in English it is only A. In English it is only A. So which is nothing but this part. This is A minus B. Okay. Now what? Now A intersection B. A intersection B, of course, we know it is pretty straightforward. Let me just change the color. This is going to be my A intersection B, which is actually both A and B, common both A and B, correct? And B minus A obviously has to be what? Only B. So B minus A only B is this part, right? So this guy is only B and this guy is both. Okay. Now, we are given A union B as 18. A union B as 18. A union B is what? A union B is this whole, the addition of all the 3 regions that I've drawn. Okay. Only A, only B and intersection, or rather both A and B is nothing but A union B. Correct? That's what the connection is. That's where we have to start working on. Great. Okay. So, n of A minus B, let me just think of this as only A. N of A intersection B, I know this is both A and B, and n of B minus A, I know is only B, correct? When I'm going to add these elements, it is nothing but n of A union B, that I know. And this only A, only B and the middle part is nothing but they have given to be 18. Correct? That's what the data is. And now we've just finished interpreting the data. Now what do they want? They want number of elements in A and number of elements in B's total, which means the complete circle of A and the complete circle of B, adding, okay, addition of these two. Complete, let's just for now call this guy as maybe Y. Okay, now before we go ahead, one very important piece of information that we have to use is this guy, this guy, this guy, they've said they are in AP. They are in AP, and now we know that addition of all 3 is 18. Correct? 3 numbers, addition is 18 and they are in AP, which means what? The middle guy has to be 18 by 3. Correct? Who is the middle guy here? Middle guy is this guy. So this guy is nothing but 6. So this we straight away know is 6. Okay? So the middle guy is 6 because they have given this bit of information that only A, intersection and only B. In this order, they are in AP, correct? So therefore, we are able to find out that the middle guy is nothing but equal to 6. Okay. Now we know that the middle guy is 6, and we also know only A, only B are in AP. Correct. So the only numbers that will fit, and remember the addition is 18. So the only numbers that are going to fit are this guy to be 3, this guy to be 6, and this guy to be 9. So 3, 6, 9, they are in AP, addition is going to be 18. So now we know the values because they're pretty simple to figure out. Number of elements of a set will not be in decimals, correct? So they have to be integers. So this is 3, this is 6, this is 9. What are we asked? Again, we have to be very careful. You're asked n of A. N of A is actually 3 plus 6, 9. So this guy is 9. N of B is actually 6 plus 9, 15. Okay, so this is 15. So our final answer is going to be 24. In this case, we are going to say option C. Moving on to the next question now. Next question, straightforward PNC question, slightly lengthy but easy to solve. Natural number n lies between 100 and 400. Sum of the digits is 10. Probability that the n is divisible by 4. So we know the 4's divisibility is last 2 digits, but we'll get to that later. First, we'll have to, I think, create the possibilities of the digits. Lying between 100 and 400. So the hundreds place will be 1, 2, 3. It's between 400, so not even 400. So the hundreds place can't be 400 or anything higher than that, correct? So I'm just going to quickly say one set of numbers are going to be like this, or like this, or like this. So now we will quickly list down the digits in a way that the sum of the digits is 10. So if the hundreds digit is 10, the other 2 digits need to add up to 9. For the other 2 digits to add up to 9, all the possibilities are going to be from 0, 9, 1, 8, 2, 7, 3, 6, 4, 5, then repeat 5, 4, 6, 3, 7, 2, and 8, 1, and 9, 0. Okay, so many possibilities we will have here. Moving on to the second one, the hundreds place is 2, which means the other 2 digits have to add up to 8, which means we are going to start with 0, 8. Correct? So I'm just going to quickly say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. This guy is going to go from 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. Moving on to the third one, 100 digit is 3, other 2 have to add up to 7. So we start with 0, 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. These are the possibilities of the numbers. Only these many numbers are possible from the entire range of 100 to 400. From this, so this is our sample space. What we have just found is only the sample space, the denominator. Okay, let's quickly count. It's basically from 0 to 9. So here there are 10 such numbers, 0 to 8. So 9 such numbers, and 0 to 7 is 8 such numbers. So 10 and 9, 19, and 8, 27 such numbers. So our denominator is 27. Okay, if you see, there is actually only one option with 7 in the denominator, but there is a factor of 27 also. So I will not be very quick in marking option. It may just cancel and I may get a 2 by 9 or a 1 by 3 or something like that. Okay. So now let's quickly see how many numbers out of these are divisible by 4. Now you should know that the divisibility of 4 is last 2 digits to be divisible. Okay, so last 2 digits divisible, 2, 7. So yes, 3, 6 is possible, not 4, 5, not 5, 4, not 6, 3, 7, 2 is possible. So 2 here, 0, 8 definitely yes, then maybe then directly 44 yes, and then 8, 0 yes. So 3 here. Then 1, 6 is possible, 52 is possible, and that's about it. So I think, yeah, 2 and 2, 4 and 3, 7, correct. So it is 7 on 27. So we're going to say option B as our answer. So overall, I felt this question was absolutely in the doable category, because the only thing about this question is it was tedious, and actually not very tedious. You just have to write down the numbers. Divisibility of test of 4 is as basic as it gets. Okay. So yes, Indore level definitely to be done. Okay, moving on to the next question now. Next question, coordinate geometry question. I would put it this question between B and C. Thankfully, at least one line they have given as y is equal to 0. Other two lines we'll have to actually plot. So we see how the triangle is formed, and then we'll have to go from there as to how to find the area of the triangle. So let's start. I'm just going to roughly draw because that's how you are going to be in the exam. So if I just start with the coordinate axes, y is equal to 0, you know, is going to be our x-axis. 12x minus 5y is equal to 0. Now, this particular line, if I have to see one point, let's say if I put x is 0, then I get minus 5y is equal to 0. So, therefore, y is also equal to 0, which means one point for this particular line is definitely the origin. Okay, 12x minus 5y is 0. So, 12x is equal to 5y. Therefore, 12 into 5 and 5 into 12. So, x is equal to 5, y is equal to 12 will also satisfy, because then it will be 60 minus 60, which is equal to 0. So, x is 5, y is 12. X is 5, let's say I take somewhere here, this is my 5, and if this is 5, 12 has to be somewhere here. Okay, so this is my line. So, if I have to just draw this properly and roughly at the same time without a scale, this is how it's going to look like. Now, this is my 12x minus 5 is equal to 0. Okay, so I've got one line. We know the other line is this guy, x-axis, y is equal to 0. Let's go on to the third line. 3x plus 4y is 7. 3x plus 4y is equal to 7. Let's see where it is intersecting the x-axis. So, we are going to put what? Y is equal to 0. If you put y is 0, you get 3x is equal to 7, x is 7 by 3. X is 7 by 3, so x 7 by 3, so 2.33 something. So, maybe somewhere here, this is my point 7 by 3. So, so basically this line is going to pass from here. The other point can be, let's say the y coordinate, if I have to find out. So, when I put, what we put, now we put x is equal to 0. So, y is 7 by 4. Y is 7 by 4. 7 by 4 is 1.75. So, maybe somewhere here. Okay. So, this is 7 by 4. So, in fact, this line is going to pass like this. So, if you see properly, this is the triangle that we are trying to find the area of. Okay, this is what we are trying to find the area of. Luckily, the one vertex of the triangle is on the origin and the base is coinciding with the x-axis. So, that makes our life slightly simpler. I am just going to use a simple half base height formula. What is the base? The base is the x coordinate. So, this is 7 by 3. And what is the height? Height of that is the y coordinate. Okay, sorry, in fact, we'll have to find the y coordinate. I can't use 7 by 4. So, yes, we'll have to solve the two lines simultaneously before we do that. So, 12x minus 5y is equal to 0 and 3x plus 4y is equal to 0. Sorry, this is equal to 7. I'll just quickly erase this, maybe write 7. So, equal to 7. Great. So, now 4 and 5 I'll have to multiply both. So, I'll just multiply the second equation with 4 to get a 12x. So, now this becomes 12x, this becomes 16y and this becomes 28. Okay. So, subtract. So, 12 and minus 12 will be home. Minus 16 minus 5 is minus 21y is equal to minus 28, 0. So, minus 28. Obviously, we can cancel this. So, y is equal to 28 upon 21. We can cancel this with 7 to get a 4 by 3. So, the y coordinate of this point is 4 by 3. So, the height, this particular height is also going to be 4 by 3, which means I can plug this here, and this is my final formula, final step of the answer. So, cancelling this to get a 2, and I now know it is 7 into 2, 14 upon 9. Do I have such an option? Yes, I have. Option C, 14 by 9 is going to be the answer. Now, in this case, the lines were given in such a way that luckily, it turned out to be one side has to be, as the x-axis. So, it made our life simple in figuring out the base and the height. Question can become trickier if all the three lines, none of the lines are on the any of the axes. Then, you'll have to go the determinant way where we use the x coordinate, y coordinate and the constant, and then, find the area of the triangle. Moving on to the next question now. Again, this question I would put between B and C. It's not a very, very straightforward question. Okay. So triangle ABC, AB is equal to AC they've given and they've given it to be X. Okay. So I'm just going to start with this. So both of these are X. Oh, I should name this first, AB and C. So AB and AC are given to be equal and we have named them as S. ABC is theta. So this angle becomes theta. Obviously, by isosceles triangle theorem, this guy also becomes theta. Okay. Circumradius is equal to y. Great. Okay. So if I have to actually draw the circumradius, let's say this part is nothing but y. Then x by y is equal to. So somehow we have to find connection between circumradius and the side, the congruent side of the isosceles triangle. Okay. The only formula that I know for circumradius and connecting the sides is, the area of the triangle formula, which is half into AB into sine theta. Obviously, the theta here is the angle between AB. And this is nothing but the three sides ABC upon 4R. This is also the formula for area of triangle, capital R being the circumradius. Okay. So yes, we can definitely, cancel out AB. Let's cancel 2 with 4 to get a 2. So in fact, what am I left with is sine theta is equal to C upon 2 times capital R. Sine theta is equal to C upon 2 times R. Okay. Now, if I have to use sine rule, okay, what is the sine rule? The angle upon, the side upon the angle, sine of that angle. So, C upon sine C, which is equal to B upon sine B, which is equal to A upon sine of A. Correct. Now, from here, what we know is sine theta is actually equal to what? Sine theta, the sine of that angle. See, this R is nothing but Y. Right. So, sine C is nothing but C upon 2y, correct? So, C upon sine C is nothing but 2y. So, this equal to 2 times y. C upon sine C is equal to 2 times y. And now I can write the same in terms of x because I now know the side also. So, this is nothing but x upon sine theta. Correct? So, I can obviously, now it's pretty simple. I'll write x upon y to give me 2 times sine theta. Okay. So, that way, once you understand the connection, then it is pretty simple. We are going to say option A as our answer here. Moving on to the next question. Again, a permutation combination question. Simple category question between A and B, more towards A. It's pretty simple counting, no complicated cases here. Number of integers greater than 5000 divisible by 5 that can be found with these digits where no digit is repeated. So, the repetition is not allowed. They have said greater than 5000, which means we start with 5000. So, we start with 4-digit numbers. What have they given? They have given 1, 3, 5, 7, 8, 9, which means they have given us 6 digits. This is the only tricky part where students might go wrong. They have given 6 digits. They have not said any upper limit, which means we should account for 4-digit numbers, 5-digit numbers and 6-digit numbers. Okay, that's the only tricky part. Okay, let's start with the 4-digit numbers. So, 4-digit numbers 1, 2, 3 and 4 has to be greater than 5000 and you want a number to be divisible by 5. For divisibility by 5, the units place has to be either 0 or 5. Thankfully, there is no 0, which means we will have to fix up 5 here. Correct? So, there is only one possibility for this guy. So, only one possibility here. Now, the number has to be greater than 5000. So, only digits greater than 5 are 7, 8, 9. So, here there are 3 options, either 7 or 8 or 9. Correct? Now, the repetition is not allowed. So, out of the 6 given digits, 2 digits we have fixed. One is 5 and one is 1 of 3, 7, 8 or 9. So, we are left with how many? 4. So, here there are 4 options, therefore, here there will be 3 options. So, this is 3 into 4, 12 into 3, 36 possibilities. Now, we go to 5-digit number 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Again, this guy has to be fixed here, does not really have a choice. In the 5-digit numbers, you don't care what is coming in the first place because any 5-digit number is going to be bigger than 5000 or any 4-digit number for that matter. Correct? So, now we are not really worried about who can come where. You can just start quickly putting in the possibilities. which means one digit we have used out of 6. So this guy has to be 5 places, 5 possibilities, 4 possibilities, 3 possibilities and 2 possibilities. So this is a plain 5 factorial, which is 120. Same with 6 digit numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. This guy is fixed here. So only 1 here. Now again, nothing to worry about. So 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1. So another 120. So 240 and 36 is 276. So we're going to say option C, 276 as our answer. Moving on to the last DI set of this particular section. Now, this set, what have they given is 3 categories: apparel, footwear and electronics for an e-commerce company. The first 3 columns are the sales and the last 3 columns are the value of the products returned as a percentage of the sales. So just to help you read, if you look at this guy, basically 13% of apparel was returned out of 262 lakhs of rupees in the month of January. So 13% of 262 lakhs was the return. Everything else was the actual sales. What have they said? Net sales is defined as the difference between the sales and the value of products returned. So in this case, in January in apparel, if I have to find, somebody asks me net sales is 87% of 262 lakhs. Okay. One more value. Let's say we talk about April footwear. April footwear sales was 58 lakhs. And 8% of 58 lakhs was the return value. So 8% was return. So net sales was 92% of 58 lakhs. Okay, I hope this is clear. This is how we are going to read the table. Now, let's get into the questions. Okay, first question now. Among the following 4 months, so they've given, so we have to only work with the 4 months given in the options. Which month the contribution of the apparel in the total monthly sales was the highest? So basically, it's going to be what? Apparel upon the total monthly sales. Okay, let's go to first April. April apparel is 258. So this is 258 upon the month's total. Month's total is 258 and 58. 58 is 116, right? So this is 316 and 325. 316 and 325 is 600, 25, 16, 41. So this is 641. Don't be in a hurry to calculate these numbers. We will come back to it. Now let's see December. So in December, apparel is what? 221 upon the total of the whole thing. 221 and 86. 220, 80 is 300. So and 1 and 6, 307. 307 and 268. 300, 200, 500. 68 and 7 is 75, I think. Yeah. So December is going to be 575. Perfect. Now let's go to August. August is 252. So this is 252 on the monthly total. 252 and 60, 25 and 6, 31. So 300 and 312. 312 and 36. So 33, 600, 36 and 12, 440, 648. Okay. Now we go on to the last option, January. January is what? 262 on. 262, 104 is 366, 366 and 289. 300 and 200, 500, 66 and 89. 90 and 65 is 155. So this is going to be 655. Perfect. Okay. We want to find out what the highest percentage. Okay. Now, this is the best place to use your on-screen calculator, but there also you can optimize. You don't really have to manually, robotically go and find out all 4 values. Let's see if we can eliminate at least 1 or 2. We want to go to the highest value. Now I have 258 on 641 and I have 252 on 648. They are quite close. See, now between these 2 values, if you see the numerator has decreased, the denominator has increased, which means both ways the value is going to be lesser. So we can completely eliminate August as the first thing. 221 on 575, 262, I don't really know, but is there any way that we can do it without the calculator? Yes, see, January 262 upon 655. 655, the denominator, the 10% of that is 65.5. 40% of that is 65 into 4 or 60 into 4, 240, 5 into 4, 20. So 260 and 0.5 into 4, 260. So this in fact is exactly equal to 40%. Once you have any one of the benchmark, just calculate everybody else with respect to the benchmark. We want the highest value. So if I go to December now, 221 and 57.5, 10% of the denominator is 57.5. 40 of that is 57 into 4. 50 into 4, 200. 7 into 4, 28. So 228 and 0.5 into 4, 2. So 230. This guy is less than 230. So this is less than 40%. So I'm going to eliminate because till now January is winning. Now let's go to April. 64.1 is my 10%, into 4 is 240 and 16 256, 256.4. So this guy is slightly more than 256, more than 40%. I'm going to mark April as my answer. You don't really have to get into these oral calculations. Once you, even if you eliminated one option, other three you could quickly do on your on-screen calci and still go ahead. Maybe just save that stamina in your exam for calculating this, mentally, because you still have one full section, verbal section to go after this particular section. So yeah, but anyway, so we are going to say option A, April, for this question. Moving on to the next one now. Among the following 4 months, again, for which month the value of the footwear returned was the highest in lakhs of rupees. Value of the footwear returned in lakhs of rupees was highest. Okay, let's first go to June. June and footwear is 111 and 5%. So basically, and return, so we have to find 5% only. So we want to find out what 5% of 111. Okay, what happened in March? March 121 and 7%. So this is 7% of 121. Great. July will be 9% of 119, 9% of 119, and September is what? 9% of 118, 9% of 118. We again want to find out the highest, so we can eliminate all the lower values. 9% of 118, 9% of 119, pretty simple. This guy goes home straight away. We will not even calculate this value. Now, 5% of 111, 5% is very simple. You know 10% of anything, 11.1 it will be the 10%. Therefore, 5% of that is going to be half. So, 5.5-ish something of this guy. In fact, 9% is also very simple, not difficult. 119's 10% is 11.9, correct? 11.9 minus 1%, 1.9. Okay, 1.1 rather, sorry, 1.1. So this is 11 minus 1, 10.8-ish something. So this is 10.8-ish something. 7% of 121. The 10% of this guy is, in fact, do I need to calculate? Yeah, maybe just less. So this is 5% of 111, clearly less. So this is out. So in fact, it's only between March and July. 7% of 121, 1% is 1.21, 7% will be 7.2, so 1.4, so 8-ish something. So definitely less than 10. So this is also eliminated. Answer is C, July. So it's good to be very quick with your oral calculations because you don't really have calci in all the exams. But these kind of DI questions are generally asked in all the exams. Okay. But here, as I told you, you might want to save on your stamina and mental strength and maybe use your on-screen calculator. It's completely fine. Don't overuse the calculator because it's time consuming, because you have to actually click on everything and it's not a quick button press calculator. Okay. Let's see the next question now. So, by what percent the net sales for June increased as compared to May in the footwear category? So, June of footwear upon May of footwear, we want to find how much percent is the increase. So, June of footwear is 11%, and they've said net sales, out of which 5% was returned. So, I'm going to write this as 95% into 111 upon May, which is 69 and 6, so 94% of 69. This will give us the increase. Okay, actually percentage increase upon the original. So actually the numerator should be 95% of 111 minus 94% of 69 upon 94% of 69. But we can work on that a little later. For now, 95, 94, very similar. I'm very tempted actually to cancel all of this. Cancelling means what? I am actually assuming the denominator to be 95. which means I'm increasing the denominator by 1%, which means whatever answer that I'm going to get is lesser. Denominator has become bigger, correct? Answer is lesser. So my actual answer, the option, is going to be slightly higher than what we get from here, okay? So now we need to work only with 111 upon 69. How much more is 111 upon 69? 69 is closer to 70, so 30, 41 and 42. So basically this is nothing but 42 more upon 69. This is the percentage we are trying to find, and what we get here is going to be lesser than our answer. Our answer should be more. Okay. Now 42 on 69. 42 on 69, if I think of, again, if I can do an approximation here to make it 70 and then cancel to get a 6 by 10. So it is going to be roughly 60%. Slightly more than 60% is my answer. So I'm going to say option B, 62.58. 60.87 is a close by. So I would suggest here that you actually use your calci only for this one simple division, 40 by 69. Had it been 40 by 70, it would have been exact 60%. Okay. And we have already approximated it once, and now we are approximating it again to 70. Therefore, I am marking answer option 62 very safely. Moving on to the next question now. Which categories the value of the products returned as a percentage of sales increased for 3 consecutive months? So for every category individually, we just have to see where there was increase in the 3 consecutive months. So let's quickly look at apparel. We directly go to the percentages. Increase, yes. Increase, yes. So in fact, apparel has a Jan, Feb, March increase. Goes down. So 20 to 16 is going down. So not really. 16, 12 going down. This is an increase, but again going down. So not 3 consecutive. Decrease, decrease, increase. But again a decrease and increase. So actually only one time it has increased in 3 consecutive months, which is apparel. Footwear, do we have that? Increase, then a decrease. So not really. 7 to 8 is increase, but again a decrease. 6 to 5 is decrease. 5 to 9 is increase. Again 9 to 6 is decrease. 6 to 9 is increase. So not really. 9 to 8 again decrease. 8 to 9 and 9 to 10. Yes. So there is a 3-month increase here also in footwear. Let's go and see electronics. In fact, before going on to electronics, have a look at your options. Only footwear, both apparel and footwear, only electronics, only apparel. If electronics is a part of an answer, there should have been one option, all 3. But there is no option of all 3. There is only an option of footwear and apparel. We should safely mark option B and go ahead. Okay. Moving on to the last question of the set. Which month had the highest percentage decline in monthly sales as compared to the previous month for the apparel category? So apparel decline with respect to the previous month. So if we say December basically 221 declined from 228. So there is a decline of what? 7 on how much? On the previous value always. Okay, so this is 7 on 228. This is the percentage decline. And they've asked only sales, so we don't have to figure the returns. Great. So this is December, 7 on 228. Let's go to March. March was 236, went down from 279. So 43, yes. So 43 on 279 is March. June, October. October went to 222 from 288. So it's a 66 decline on 288. And June is going to be what? 230, 49. So 19 on 249. Again, what are we wanting? We are wanting the highest percentage. So, which is the highest value out of all of these? Great. Okay. What do we do? 7 on 228, 43 on 279. I'm just trying to establish a reasonable benchmark with which we will compare everything else. Okay. 279, 249. In fact, let's start. We want to go to the higher value. So let's start with the highest value here. Maybe October. October, the 10% is 28.8 and 66. So it is more than 20% also. 28.8's double is 56 and 1.6. So 57.6. So this guy is more than 20% for now. Okay. If you go to June, June is 10% is 24.9 and that guy is 19. So it is even less than 10%. So clearly not our answer. Go to March, 27.9 and 27's double is 54, comfortably lower than 54. So this is also less than 20%. This obviously is much lesser. So yes, I think this we have our option. Option C, October, is going to be the answer. So yeah, that's the end of the set and the end of the section.